Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's panel discussion on social and ethical issues. We are honored to have a group of distinguished panelists with us today, all experts in their respective fields, to help us navigate the complexities of modern ethical challenges. I am one of your moderators for today's show. I'm Jean Claire Teves, and here with me is my co moderator, Mr. Chris D.
Good day, everyone. Before we start the topic, let me introduce to you our eight distinguished panelists here with us today. So we have Miss Jennifer Alia from Human Rights Advocate. We have also Miss Marianne Ombalino, sociologist, urban poverty specialist. And we also have Jaime Matigas, environmental ethicist. We have Miss Charlene Yanez, a lawyer, human rights law and corporate accountability. We also have Miss Cristia Ribusto, a cultural anthropologist, and Miss Sean Russell Cañete, who is an expert in digital and ethics and privacy, and Miss Janet Liaban, who is an educator, social justice advocate, and also lastly, Miss Tricia May Balambao, who is a philosopher and bioethicist.
Now that we oh, now that we knew our panelists, let's start our discussion with our first question. The issue is about the changing landscape of human rights. Miss Jennifer, you've worked extensively with marginalized communities, with the global focus increasing shifting towards systemic change. What do you think are the most pressing human rights issues in today's world, and how can society work together to address them?
All right, so good evening. Racial justice, gender equality, and access to education are some of the most pressing human rights challenges we face today. Addressing them requires systematic reforms that go beyond surface level solution. It's about changing policies, raising awareness, and mobilizing collective actions to dismantle the structures that perpetuate these inequalities. True progress comes with society actively works to ensure that these rights are universally respected and upheld. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Jennifer. Your call for systematic change is both powerful and necessary. So these issues demand more than surface level solutions. The next issue we will talk about is about the urban inequality and social policy. Now, Ma'am Ariane, as a sociologist who studies urban inequality, how do you see the relationship between growing urban poverty and social inequality? What are the most effective policy measures that can be implemented to address these issues?
Good evening. Urban poverty is deeply linked to wealth inequality, inadequate housing, and lack of access to essential services like healthcare. The most effective policies will promote affordable housing, universal healthcare access, and stronger social safety nets for those in need. But this solution must be sustainable and inclusive, ensuring that marginalized communities are uplifted and empowered to break the cycle of poverty. City needs to be designed with community in mind.
Insightful points, Ma'am Ariane. Addressing urban inequality truly requires a holistic approach, and you've highlighted the key areas we need to focus on. So, next will be about environmental ethics and climate change. Mr. Jaime, with climate change becoming a major global issue, the ethical dimension is often overlooked. How do we balance economic growth with ethical responsibility to protect the environment? What role do corporations and governments play in this?
Okay, hello. Good evening, everyone. We can no longer view economics growth and environmental sustainability as opposing forces. Ethical responsibility demands that corporations and governments prioritize the environment in their decisions. This means adopting sustainable practices, reducing carbon footprints, and being accountable for the impact they have on the planet. The ethical obligation to protect the environment should be non-negotiable, not just for future generations, but for vulnerable populations already feeling the effects of climate change.
Thank you, Mr. Jaime. It's clear that environmental sustainability must be at the forefront of both corporate and governmental decision making. So let's jump to the fourth issue, corporate accountability in a global economy. So, Ms. Yanyas, you've advised on corporate accountability. How can corporations be held ethically responsible for their actions in today's global economy? Should there be stricter legal frameworks or is self-regulation is enough?
So good evening everyone. So corporation must be held accountable for their actions, especially in a globalized economy where exploitation can easily be hidden. Self-regulation is not sufficient. We need stronger legal frameworks to ensure that businesses respect labor rights, environmental standards, and corporate responsibility. The supply chain of large corporations must operate ethically, ensuring that workers and communities are not sacrificed for profit. This is not just a legal issue, but a moral one as well. Thank you.
Well said, Ma'am Charlene. So, holding corporations accountable is essential to ensuring that human rights and ethical practices are upheld globally. For the next issue, digital ethics and privacy in the age of AI. So, Ma'am Cañete, the rapid development of AI and the digital technologies presents new ethical challenges. How do we ensure that digital technologies and AI systems respect privacy and avoid biases? What ethical frameworks should be put in place?
Good evening. AI and digital technology have incredible potential, but they also come with significant risks. We need comprehensive ethical frameworks that ensure AI systems respect privacy, minimize biases, and promote fairness. Both tech companies and government have a responsibility to create transparent, accountable systems that protect individuals from misuse. As these technologies evolve, so too must are ethical safeguards to prevent harm and discrimination. Discrimination.
All right, thank you. Great insight, Ms. Cañete. As technology evolves, your emphasis on transparency and accountability becomes even more critical. Next will be our sixth issue, which is cultural heritage and globalization. So, Miss Christia, globalization often threatens the preservation of culture heritage. How can we ethically navigate culture appropriation while still fostering cultural change? What protections should be put in place for indigenous cultures? Miss Christia?
Good evening, everyone. Globalization is often threatens cultural heritage, particularly for indigenous communities whose tradition and knowledge system are at the risk of being appropriated or erased. We must ensure that these cultures are preserved and respected, not exploited for commercial or culture gain. Ethical cultural exchange require us to recognize the ownership and intellectual property of source communities, ensuring that they are credited and compensated with their heritage is shared. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent points, Miss Krisha. So ensuring cultural heritage is protected and respected is critical, especially in our increasingly globalized world. For our second to the last issue, it is all about ethical dilemmas in healthcare and biotechnology. Miss Tricia, bioethics has become increasingly important with advancements in healthcare and biotechnology. What are the most significant ethical dilemmas you foresee in the near future, especially with technologies like genetic engineering and end of life care?
Advancement in healthcare and biotechnology presents both incredible opportunities and profound ethical dilemmas. Genetic engineering, for example, offers potential cures but also raises concerns about equity and consent. End of life care similarly tests our values around autonomy and dignity. To navigate this process, we need clear ethical guidelines that respect human dignity while ensuring that technological advances benefit all, not just a privilege of few.
Thank you, Ms. Balambao. Navigating these ethical dilemmas requires a careful balance, and your perspective on dignity and equity is essential. And the issue ending our discussion is all about barriers to equitable education. Ms. Janet, as an advocate for education reform and social justice, what do you see as the most significant barriers to equitable access to quality education? How can we address these challenges to ensure that all students, regardless of their background, have the opportunity to succeed?
So good day. Education remains one of the most powerful tools for social mobility, but many students are still left behind due to socioeconomic disparities and underfunded schools. Addressing this requires policy reforms that ensure equitable distribution of resources, access to technology, and support for teachers is underserved areas. Without these changes, we risk perpetuating a system where only the privileged have access to a quality education, leaving marginalized communities further behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Janet. Your passion for equitable education shines through, and these reforms are crucial for closing the gaps in access.
Thank you to all our panelists for sharing their invaluable insights today. It's clear that social and ethical issues are deeply interconnected and solutions require collaboration across various sectors. So we hope this discussion has shed light on some of the critical challenges we face on a daily basis.
Yes, thank you for all your contributions. The conversation doesn't end here. These are ongoing issues, and we encourage everyone to continue engaging and advocating for ethical solutions in your communities. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, dear panelists. Thank you, everyone.
Diba na?
Ah, sige na,
Yeah.
mana
Okay,
na.
Anak, na?
Ah.
all good na all goods.